What's going on, everyone? Justin here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I wanted to do a quick overview of the AC system in my Lotus Evora. Since I have the front clamshell exposed, it's going to be really easy to see the system and components that are involved in it. It's going to be basically the same across all Evora platforms with the exception of the charge cooler, which this one does not have. That came in the later 400 and GT models. So I'll do a quick system overview, how I'm going to be creating vacuum and boiling off the water in the system, and then how I'm planning on charging it as well as charging it, hopefully. So stand by for that. All right, AC system. If you've been following my video, you know that I already have the front clamshell off, and so this is really easy to see. Basically, you have your coolant pack here, and that's comprised basically of the radiator, your fan and fan shroud that's built into it. And then on the front is your condenser. Condenser is held in by 4 bolts. There are 4 bolts in each corner, and that secures it to the radiator itself. You can see one of the bolts there, it's a 10 millimeter. So 4 bolts hold that on. There's some sealing foam that goes along the top, bottom, and sides when it bolts up to the radiator. And that's basically it. Here are some of the hard lines that connect to the condenser. There's 1 bolt that holds down there. I think that was 8 Newton meters. Don't quote me on that. But there's a bracket there. You pull this up, and these 2 lines have O-rings on them. So that could be a leak point. This was actually leaking when I first tried charging the system. So definitely something you want to look at is replace the O-rings there. That comes out to the high pressure line. Here's your dryer. You always replace this when the system has been exposed to air for a prolonged period of time. So there's a new dryer in there. Your pressure switch to protect the compressor in case you lost pressure. So, you know, if it loses pressure, then it's assuming it doesn't have any lubrication. This comes down to your evap. You have your expansion valve that's built in there. Your HVAC box. This is kind of a pain to remove, but if you get it out, you have the evaporator core inside of that. That's also a common leak point, unfortunately. There are 4 drains underneath. There are little hoses that are at the bottom. I actually covered it in a previous video, but basically you want to make sure that those hoses are flowing so that they're not clogged, because if they're clogged, water could get in there and accumulate rust on the evaporator core, and then it'll create a pinhole leak. The hard lines, you see you have your hard lines that follow along here, goes to the bulkhead, and then that goes to the sill panel right to the compressor. Compressor is mounted to the engine, obviously. Not even really going to be able to see it. It's back there. If you take off the access panel behind the rear seat, you'll be able to see it. Can't really even get a glimpse of it here, although you can see where the lines come up and over and connect to it. So your compressor's in there. And here are your valves, or ports. High pressure, low pressure. And basically what I did is I had a vacuum pump hooked up to this. There's a vacuum pump here, if my camera spins around. And basically I pulled 30 inches of vacuum for a few hours. I left it overnight, and then I reopened it, and I could see that it still maintained the 30 inches of vacuum. So that means that it's not leaking. And so before I charge this, I'm going to make sure that it still had held vacuum. And if that's the case, it means that the system is closed like it should be. All the O-rings are in good shape. And then I'll be able to put the proper amount of lubricating oil in it and Freon. And so I'll cover that in the next video when my friend stops by with his Freon tank and scale, and finally be able to get a charge on this thing. All right, and we're back. Been a couple of days. I had the system pull. That's kind of where we left off, and I've employed my good friend Nick, who's going to be helping me charge it. So,
what's up, guys?
What are you doing, Nick? Injecting some oil?
Yeah, you replace a few components based off the manual. Need 3 ounces worth of oil for the components, right? I just did the last shot, so we are good to go. Put a little dye in it as a precaution, then we can charge it.
Yep. And so the parts that were replaced was the condenser up front. The evaporator I didn't replace, but I did blow it out with an air gun. So the residual oil that was in there was probably vacated. And then I also put in the new dryer. And so as per the Lotus Service Notes, it said, I think it was 30 cubic centimeters per those components. And then any line was an additional 10 cubic centimeters. So the 3 ounces, I think that should be sufficient. What is the charge? It was like 0.6?
0.625 kilograms, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So yeah, it's all in the service notes. I guess I could throw it in the description if I remember, but yeah, basically that should be the charge. So the car is running. So it's running well enough that I could basically cycle the AC compressor. Obviously that's a requirement. So I got the control panel kind of laying on the floor. We'll start the car, run it, and then throw in some charge. What are you putting in right now? That's the dye?
Yeah, I'm just going to give it a shot at dye, so, you know, in the future, if you got any problems, you just take a look. It's just 1 ounce of gas and dye.
Awesome.
That's it.
Cool, man. All right. And the Lotus is actually looking pretty good because I was able to take it outside in my driveway and clean it for the first time in several months. So, going to finish getting this thing charged. And anything interesting happens along the way, make sure to cue you in. All right, it's obviously pretty loud in here, so I'm going to talk through the mic. Basically, charge is done. So Nick's just cleaned up his stuff. And it looks like, what are we at? 30 degrees. So freezing basically.
That's how you do it right.
That's how you do it right, he says. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to call this one a success. As long as nothing leaks out. But I got the UV dye in there now, so hopefully we'll identify it if there's a leak in one of the O-rings or something. But if all goes well, then I'll just throw the caps back on this thing and call it a day. So, anyway, if you like this, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.